I'm compelled to go off script right from Jump Street because of something I heard during dinner. All these great accomplishments, 354 wins, 7 Cy Youngs, 4,000 strikeouts. Little did I know how much pride you take in the fact that you left the Red Sox with a 1,000 batting average. Tell us that story.
Yeah, I'm hitting 1,000 at Fenway Park. Pretty proud. Make sure this is taped and send it to my boys, please. My boys called me a 6'4" Judy when I was hitting in Houston. They said, you know, swing the bat, Dad. But I got 1 at bat and 1 hit, base hit at Fenway Park. I teased people for fun, but we had a team that could score runs that year. But we also had a bunch of guys, what we say, are allergic to leather. They couldn't catch the ball for nothing. And I think Canseco was playing left field, and he, of course, blew his back out again. And I don't know if it was a double. I think I might have given up a triple at Fenway Park, and you know how difficult that is. Yeah. I think it hit the wall and kicked down, and Jose was running, pointing at it for somebody. I think Glenn Braggs or somebody, or Greenwell in center field. Yeah. To pick it up because he couldn't bend over. I was like, pick the ball up, Jesus. And he had to come out of the game because of his back. The DH spot was 5 away, right. 5 or 6 away. So they were all messing with me and joking with me. And Kevin Kinney, our manager, goes, you're like 5th to hit. You're not going to hit, but you're like 5th to hit. But I'm just telling you, we've lost our DH. And I go, all right, no problem. Base hit, hit by pitch. Next thing you know, I'm in the hole. I'm putting on Mo Vaughn's arm guard, Tim Naring's shin guard, Valentin's helmet, which I don't think it had the face cover, but okay. Put it this way, I had enough equipment. I would have felt safe in Iraq.
There you go.
With how much stuff I had on.
Yep.
And next thing you know, I'm on deck, and somebody in front of me, I don't remember what happened because I was in a fog myself. I go, I'm fixing to hit at Fenway Park. And the flashes were going off just as I walked on deck and taking pictures. I go up there off the nasty boy, Norm Charlton, and I couldn't tell you what the count was, but I got me a little base hit.
Norm Charlton, Cincinnati Reds left-handed reliever, was called the nasty boy at the time. One of the toughest pitchers in the major league. And this is where your first major league at bat.
Yeah, he was with Seattle, I think.
Oh, that's right. By that time he would have been, yeah.
Little base hit up the first, and I didn't know what to do. I just made sure I touched the base, and I didn't know what to do. Once I got under to shake the first baseman's hand, to shake the coach's hand, I didn't know what to do. So
as Red Sox historian, Roger, I can assure you there isn't anyone in Red Sox history who has a higher batting average in a Red Sox uniform. I want to go back to this young married couple in Katy, Texas, living in a itty-bitty subdivision with about 6 houses.
Oh, we thought it was a mansion, didn't we?
Yeah, and streets had no name, just like that America song back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And tell me what role that young wife of yours played in your preparation for getting ready for a season back then.
That one, she took over from my mom, from grandma, who we called my mom, and she became our backbone and our strength. What she did with the boys allowed me to come out and work here in Boston and travel back and forth with the 2 older boys. We're young then. And allowed me to do my job and helped me keep my cool when I, was, like I tell people, physically I did it, mentally I would crush you, and then emotions come in play. When emotions come into play, they got the best of me a few times over 24 years, showed my backside. Even my mom would call me and say, honey, can you put your glove up in front of your face? You're on TV. And, yeah, Deb did not like to run back then. Now she runs me into the ground, all this stuff that she does. She runs me around like an old mule, but... back then, we lived in a subdivision that had about 6, 7 homes, and behind us there was paved roads and roads and roads, and they are streets with no names. And we had a big bicycle and with a big basket on the front, and we put our boom box in there and our little tape recorder, and I would go off on my 3 to 5 mile jumps back there in the heat. And that's how they kind of got the name the Katy Rocket, because we lived in Katy, Texas.
And she'd be pedaling right alongside you.
She'd be pedaling along right there, getting, I know for certain I probably had the Rocky music on. If you look at the 20 strikeout game, I tell people in the 20 strikeout game in the close-ups, you'll see a little chick with the pink jacket every time, putting her arms up 20 times. That game was special in itself because, Gord, as you know, I almost didn't make that start.
That's a great story, too. They may have heard it, but it's worth repeating.
Coming down Storrow Drive, we hit a little traffic, no problem. We move a couple car lengths. Next thing you know, 40 minutes go by, we haven't moved at all. And I'm in boots and jeans and a golf shirt, and we got our little car, and I'm sweating. I'm panicking. Now, I like to get to the park about 2 hours before. Some of the guys like to come in at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. They'll play solitaire or whatever. They kind of pit out, and they kind of panic. I like to get there and get started, go through my routine, get to the bullpen, warm up, and let's get after it. Now it's 6:50.
Oh my gosh!
And I am tripping. And I'm young. I was 86. So, and I'm coming off my shoulder surgery with Dr. Andrews and trying to make my way. But I got out to a decent start. It's a little chilly. Celtics are in the playoffs down the road, so I'm thinking that that's the traffic or it's this concert going on. What's going on? So I said, flick it. It was cold.
You're from Texas.
Was it freezing?
Yeah.
All right, so that's why I pitched inside all night. The hitters don't like the ball when it's cold. I said, slide over, you're driving. I'm running. I'm going to run to the ballpark. I'm panicking. And I had a pair of tennis shoes in the trunk, so I get out, start whipping my boots off in traffic, people honking at me. Next thing you know, I hear a siren. It's a motorcycle police officer, Boston police officer. And I turn around, and he says, what's the problem? And then next thing you know, he recognizes me. He goes, hey, aren't you on the? I go, yeah. And and we went back over and he follow me. So he did the whoop, 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 split the C. I go rolling through the clubhouse. The whole team's in the locker room. It's like E.F. Hutton walking in. You know, you can hear a pin drop. I open the door. They all look at me. I feel like the biggest heel. Fisher goes, come in the manager's office, McNamara. I was like, Jesus Christ. So he goes, we're going to scratch you from this. I said, no, you're not. You're not scratching me from the start. I'm not doing that to my teammates, and I'm not answering for it because I'm going to get killed. I'm not doing it. And I said, let's just sprint to the bullpen. So I go to my locker like Superman in a phone booth. Make Fish run. Fish hadn't run a 100-yard dash to the bullpen in ever, so he runs with me down there.
Yeah.
I warm up. I don't throw a strike in my warm-ups. The only peace and quiet I get is the anthem, 2 minutes. Got a temple headache. I'm trying to retie my shoe. Don't throw a strike. I know Fish behind my back got on the phone to McNamara, send the long man out because he ain't going to get out of the first inning. He's not throwing a strike yet. Get on the main mound. Spike on, my teammates leading off for Seattle.
Spike and Roger played together at the University of Texas.
Played at Texas, and we got this little thing going in the offseason when we golf, that you get a hit off me, I never hear the end of it. Spike gets hit, I never hear the end of it. So my buddy said, knock Spike on his behind one time for us. We're all going to be watching in a bar. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do it, like acting like a big dog, right? So now, I've almost missed the game. Now I'm on the mound. Everything's now batting, Sherm's big booming voice now batting number 1, Spike on, Mariners. I'm getting ready to throw the first pitch of the game, and I'm like, God dang, I told all the guys I'm going to buzz his tower. So I wind up and I throw a fastball just kind of up and in on little Spike. And Spike's got he can get the fiery belly, to say the least, to be polite with all these cameras. I keep forgetting the cameras. So I buzz him, and he kind of goes out of the way a little bit, and he taps his shoulder like, come on, dude, let's go. Like he's going to get. So I go, that's over with. I buzzed him, that's good, that's as up and in as I'm going to go. So now I'm going to wind up, I'm going to turn one loose. I'm going to push off the rubber, and I'm going to turn one loose about 95. And I turn it loose 96 miles an hour, and it is right in his ear hole. It is, I thought I killed him.
Yeah.
It's coming right at him. He spins down, his helmet comes off, spins around in dirt, and I can't even tell everybody what he told me when he got up. He was screaming at me. And the rest is history. After that, I punch out 20. I don't walk a guy. Next day in the paper, it's got Spike's helmet like this. He's like...
Clemens has set a major league record for strikeouts in a game. 20.
Everybody's calling because they think it's a misprint in the paper. President Reagan, the White House calls, wish me congratulations. We pulled the bed. We had a one-bedroom apartment. Pulled the top sofa mattress out to the living room because we only had one phone. It was right there, and it kept ringing. Yeah. People somehow found my number. And then my buddies from Texas called me because they thought I struck out 2 guys. They saw the 0, but they thought it was a misprint. They said, there's no way you punched out 20 and set a record. I go, dude, I don't know what happened, but I punched out 20 and I almost missed the game. Yeah. After the game, Bill Fisher comes, puts his arm around me, everything, all the media and everything, and ice my arm, and Fish comes up to me and goes, you get here whenever you want. I go, okay, Fish.
So when a professional golfer decides to retire, he's got an option. He can go join the senior tour. You know, when a professional baseball player retires, it's retirement. It's over, you know. So what do you do with all that competitive juices that you have, and how much do you miss the competition?
So you retire, and then you unretire.
Twice.
And then you unretire.
Or three times.
Three times, I think.
How many times you
And then
counted?
I pitched last year in Wichita, Kansas for a team that I was going to kill these ex-major leaguers for wanting us to do that, but I think I was the senior by 12 years. Oh. So we went out there and did it. Thank goodness my elbow and shoulder stayed intact. But to answer your question, after that, you work at your foundation. You look after other people. You take care of grandbabies now, because I'm Poppy Rocket.
How about that?
And,
Poppy Rocket, I like it.
Gigi and Poppy Rocket.
It's been 20 years since you left the Red Sox. Have you had an opportunity in that time to ever have a conversation with Dan Duquette? And if you haven't, what would you say to him?
Well, first of all, I didn't leave the Red Sox. I was wanting to take a pay cut because I want to stay with the Red Sox and finish my career in 2000. I thought it was going to be enough baseball to get back home, be a dad, and do my thing, maybe work for the club, whatever.
You missed by almost a decade, Roger.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had a long twilight.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a great twilight. I should send him a Christmas card every year. But he wanted his own team, and no disrespect to that, but I have ran into Dan 2 or 3 at a time. We were real cordial. There's no reason to be angry about it, as long as people understand that I wanted to play my entire career with one club. I'm a very, very loyal person. I was super excited when the Red Sox drafted me out of the University of Texas. And then when I knew the history was here, when I got to meet Ted Williams and Johnny Pesky, I can't tell you how many countless hours Johnny Pesky, when the rest of the team would leave spring training to go to doing their daily whatever and go to the amusement parks or whatever they're going to do, Pesky had me on a back field making me a better fielder. I was a very average fielder, and I knew that. So I worked on my weakness to become a very good fielder. I'll tell you right now, Gord, as you know, because I love the history and you do too, I won my first Cy Young in '86. We're in Winter Haven, Florida. Still, you know, not on first name basis with some of the legends, you know, like Yaz and Ted. Right. We're playing the Yankees in Winter Haven. And back then we had the sanitary socks. They were white socks. You'd wear 2 pair of white socks and wear your stirrups. You didn't have the socks. So I'd go through the clubhouse in spring training, and there's a big table, and that's where all the kind of Hall of Famers or big dogs would kind of hang back there, and whether it's cigars or have a drink or whatever, but before the game where they'd run around. And I went back in that back room to get my sanitaries this day. I got, you know, 24 and 4. I got a little bit of, I got a few credentials, a little juice, yeah. I walked back here, I looked to the left at a table like this, big round, a bunch of them are playing cards. It's Mickey Mantle, DiMaggio, Ted Williams, Pesky, one of the other the brothers. Yeah. There's like 6 of them. And I took a quick glance, I looked away real quick, it's like, don't look me in the eye. And I kind of tried to hide, and Ted looks over his shoulder and sees me, and I'm digging through the little basket, and I got my socks, and I'm trying to tippy-toe out this way. Yeah. Ted goes, I hear a big booming voice, hey kid. I look over at Ted Williams. Oh my God, it's Ted Williams. And I go, he goes, come here. And I walk over, and I'm like the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz. You could hear my armor. And yes, sir, Mr. Williams. I'm calling him Mr. Williams, you know. He goes, let me just tell you something. He's going to boast a little bit in front of all of his buddies. And I'm like, that's freaking Mickey Mantle. Jesus Christ. And I'm like, kid, let me ask you something. I saw the year you had last year. He goes, if you had to face me, what would you throw me? And I'm like, I got marbles in my, I'm and he goes, you know what, kid? I'd look for your slider. I've seen your slider. It's good. And I'd look for your slider. You know why, kid? I go, no, sir, Mr. Williams, I do not. He goes, because I can hit your damn fastball. I go, yes, sir, Mr. Williams. I run out the door.
That's classic.
Now, wait a minute. Fast forward the very next year.
Okay.
I win 20 games again. I got 2 Cy Youngs now. Now I'm the Rocket. Ted. I can call him Ted. Same scenario, different cast of characters, but almost the same exact thing in spring training. Ted's like, hey, Rocket, come here. I go, this is awesome. Hey, Ted, how you doing? I can tell you, this is awesome. He goes, you remember what I asked you last year? I go, yeah, Ted, I do. I said, you said you look for my slider because you could hit my damn fastball. That's right, that's what I said, kid. That's what I go, Ted, I got this now. I got a split finger for you. He goes, oh, that's cheating. We ain't doing that. That's it. So that's how that covers. That's my memory of getting to visit with Ted Williams.
And that's a classic story.
Awesome.
That's an epic story.
You played 24 years, guys ask who your toughest hitters are, and you know, when I face a Cal Ripken, we faced each other 80, 90 times, whatever it is. There's no secrets. I mean, he knows what I'm going to try and do to him if he's got a guy on third base. Facing a George Brett, I was lucky, Gord. I got to face, you know, like I said, Luzinski, Kingman, Don Baylor, Fisk, and played all the way through where I'm facing Pujols and Griffey and, you know, you
didn't miss many.
Yeah.
Manny Ramirez,
Manny,
Ortiz, for that matter.
Got to pitch against those guys back here at home and in all-star games. So, you know, I just wanted them to know that, you know, you want guys to know when they see your name that you're starting the next night that you better get your rest because I'm coming for you. And so you have that pride. I have all these fans. When I would drive in from our house in Framingham, the 30 minutes, and you see the 5 different license plates coming from all over New England, and at my foundation, you would get a letter because the team would push me back a day, and I would get some, they weren't hateful letters, but they're like, gosh dang, I bought my tickets to watch you pitch, and you're not pitching till, I go, I don't have any control over that, you know. So, but, you know, you have pride in your work.
You know, you just mentioned Ted, of course. So Ted often was famous for saying that what he hoped was that when he was through playing, people would point and say, there goes Ted Williams, the greatest hitter who ever lived, walking down the street. How much would it mean to you, does it mean to you, for people to say, hey, there's Roger Clemens, the greatest pitcher who ever pitched in this game?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride. I love it when even the younger kids that might not have been able to watch me pitch in person see highlights of me and they still call me the Rocket. I answer to the Rocket more than I answer to my first name most of the time. So that's pretty cool. Bruce Hurst gave me my nickname after that 20 strikeout game, the Rocket. And, you know, again, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. I took a lot of pride in it. It's because of my upbringing. I lost my dad when I was young. I was raised by 2 strong-willed women, my mother and my grandmother. They gave me everything. And so like I said, I tell people that's what I did is not who I am as a person. When you saw me on the mound, I'm pretty much all business. Guy said I had a football mentality on the mound, whatever. Yogi Berra gave me the best compliment one day. He came up to me and whispered and he said, kid, you could have pitched in our era. And so when Yogi, somebody like, I always wish I had an opportunity I had so many fantastic catchers, starting right here with Rich Gedman. Geddy had tremendous hands. Charlie O'Brien caught 11 or 12 of his Cy Young Award winners. Tony Pena, a game within a game. He just had so much fun back there. And I'd be remiss because I had so. Posada was probably
Smith, right, in Houston.
Yeah. Jorge was probably the best as far as hitting and catching.
Yeah.
Because he could hit. And but Georgie was great. Obviously caught my 300th win. And he was when you mentioned Posada. And really all my catchers, they knew we had the relationship even with my credentials that I had that they were worried about saying anything. If I was lethargic out there, they would come and get after me. But if they weren't sitting still, I would call them immediately out in the first or second inning. I go, come here. I go, sit friggin' still. You're moving all over the place.
You know me. If it was up to me, we'd be up here talking the rest of the night. But, you know, you mentioned your boys. 4 boys. Kobe, Corey, Casey, Cody. I'll end it here. If there was one character trait of yours that you would like to see your sons emulate, what would it be?
Well, they already have it. They have it from their mother and from everybody around us. I think, again, if you met my boys, I think you can ask this, one of their teammates are here tonight too. If you didn't know my boys carried my last name, you wouldn't know they were my boys. The 4 boys, I want them to be tenacious when they're on the field. Because, you know, again, when I'm representing Boston, I have the Red Sox on my chest. I have a big amount of pride to go out and win and perform. That's my job, okay? I remember my first Major League start in Cleveland. It was freezing. Deb and my mom and my grandmother, they spent while we hit, they were in the ladies' bathroom in Cleveland. When I finished my warm-ups, I tell everybody, when I finished my warm-ups, you don't have to say any more than this. I warmed up in Cleveland, the railing's right there. I got down, there's my mom. She leans over to give me a hug, tell me good luck, and I feel something, I thought she was just patting me on my behind. She slipped it, I tell everybody it was 100, we didn't have 100. It was $20, yeah. And she whispered in my ear, she said, remember that dude at the plate is trying to take your living. That's all I need to know from my mom. It was 30 and 29. We're in some all-star games, and that's when I got to kind of converse with some of these hitters I'm trying to get out all year, and I really don't want to, but they bring the stuff for me to sign. Yeah. So I got to sign all their stuff. And then we're on the elevator going down to go to the game, and Casey and Cody are there say, Dad, King Griffey Jr. is on your team, and this is when all that Nintendo, and I used to play in Seattle, so he's got all the Nintendo in those games.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to that. And they're like, Dad, we met King Griffey Jr. today, and he said for you to lay him some strikes right down the middle, and he'll send us Nintendo games and anything we want during the second half of the season. If you'll throw it right down the middle to him and let him hit you, that he'll send us all the Nintendo stuff we want. I go, you two stay away from him. I get to the stadium, I say, Griffey, I say, quit talking to my kids.
So Roger, you will be immortalized here at Willowbend. I'm not going to read all the words, but this plaque will hang.
All right.
Will hang from
That's cool. All right.
This will go into the honorary courtyard.
Honey,
Yes. It's the real deal too. It'll last longer than you and I. But I won't read what it says because we've said it, but it talks about Roger, a little bit about his career, but more about he and Debbie and their contributions to society. So we're very proud to have you as our honoree. You will live here forever, as always.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This was a great night.
Thank you very much.